Previously, Gideon traveled to the border town of Zoltan to settle down after being kicked out of Hero's party. He thought living a normal life here and even changed his name to Red to hide his identity, and also Red opened up his own apothecary, but Rit found him there, and seeing him, Rit retired from being an adventurer to work with him in his shop, and more so, she moved in with him in his house. Rit and Red got feelings for each other, but they are yet to confess. But there was recently a medicine that was circulating around town with one hell of a addiction problem and was causing havoc, but Red and Rit stayed out of this matter. So then many of the officer from many guilds came in to sought help from the B-rank adventurer Rit, so Rit goes out to meet them. And there a guy from Thief Guild came to bargain with an elf coin with Red. All he needs to do is break his ties with Rit, but for Red, Rit is a more valuable than this elf coin or any kind of treasure, so declined his offer, and the same for Rit. She made it perfectly clear she just wants to run the shop and live with Red, nothing more. It was pleasing to hear what Rit thinks, so he gave her a nice bracelet as a gift, but a big shot from the Thief Guild named Big Hawk wanted Rit to join a guild by any means. Because if she were to be left free, Rit could become a problem for his future plans. As for Rit, she started realizing that she likes Red a few years back when they were in the Heroes party. To save the Duchy of Lagurvia, their entire party decided to ask for help from the neighboring ruler of the duchy. But when they were passing through the woods and an elf companion named Yarandrilla seemed to be close with Red and that was making her anxious, Yarandrilla felt that and told everyone to take a break. She took Rit to a nearby river and there she made it clear that she only sees Red as a friend because elves live longer than humans. So she doesn't want to go through that painful experience of losing her partner. But Yarandrilla does care about Red because he always carries all the burden alone. So she asked her to help him as much as she could, and finally, that was the time she got her feeling clear, but then Rit had to go to make a delivery of herbs. But on her way she met a man from the Thieves Guild, who threatened her that he would expose her identity in town. And would also give the information to the Duchy of Lagurvia that their princess is hiding in Zoltan, but Rit couldn't care less even if her parents find out. She gave up on being a princess long ago to be with Red, but after some day Red was out for delivery, this time to Doc Newman. But then outside they saved a man who had taken the overdues of the new medicine. It was causing trouble all around town, but at home Rit was starving because Red was late to get home to cook. So Red told her what happened on his way, but they are still just an apothecary so they didn't want to meddle in this trouble, so to take the mind off, they decided to get to the river and take a day off. And after playing in the river, there was an awkward silence between them. Rit got the feeling that Red was always avoiding her from the day they met for the first time, but Red told her that he didn't want to appear as a lovesick guy. But the conversation was becoming more intimate, and Rit finally confessed her feelings with that lovely kiss. And as for the Heroes party, they got to the location where they believe they can get the weapon of the previous demon lord, but they were filling up their supplies before heading there. But Rudy got there and somehow she opens up about herself to Tis. She told her that the blessings she has of a hero has eaten away her ability to feel. She doesn't feel any emotion or get hungry. But she still feels a bit for her brother Red. As for Red, he returned to his work with Rit, but then a man comes in for help as he was covered in blood, so Red stays behind to help him out. And Rit gets to town to look at the cause, and saw that Albert's party member and some other few persons were killing anyone on sight, but then Albert took all of them out, including his own member. And he was all smug and started to badmouth Red for hiding in his shop while Rit was here fighting, and their Rit tells him to piss off before she kills him right away. Apparently, these guys were on a rampage because they took the new medicine that was causing havoc around the market, and yet nothing came out of the investigation the guards were conducting. And still Red and Rit didn't want to look into this matter, and then Al and Tanta arrive. They invite them to have a lunch inside, and there Al brought up his own blessing. Al has the blessing of Weapon Master, and if he master it properly he could master a weapon of his selection. But he's been feeling anxious lately, and it's all because Al hadn't chosen a weapon to master, so Red advised him to take his time in choosing a weapon to master. Then after they left, Doc came in carrying Al, and as he got conscious, he freaked out because Adami came to his house and brutally attacked him and his family, so Red and Doc made a run to his house. And thankfully Al's parents were only knocked out without any serious injury, but this matter was more serious than it looks, because Adami, the captain of the guard's son. And after this Adami vanished, and the townspeople were blaming the guards for sheltering Adami, and Al's parents were resting in a mansion of the Thieves Guild members. It's Big Hawk. And the spark of revolt against the captain of guards was getting stronger, so Al wanted to be stronger to prevent this kind of incident, so he asked Rit to train him in swordsmanship, but then, while they were taking a break, gone and now arrived because the guards had taken away Now's son and her husband went after those guards. So Red and Rit went to the guild leader Gallatin for help to request a joint inquiry with the guards. Gallatin agreed to help them out, but in exchange he wants Rit to look into this medicine case for him. Rit was set, so he wrote an official letter of the request, and with that they went to the captain with this letter. Mon apologized for bringing Tanta in unannounced. He tells them that Adami was spoiled by those guards, so when Mon ordered them to bring Tanta in for questioning, they got rough and tied him up and didn't even notify him that Tanta's father wanted to meet up with him. So actually Mon's men think Adami is killed by people of the South Marsh, and they even doubt that Adami was the one who attacked Al and his parents. So Tanta agrees with Mon in that part because after Adami bullied him, he later came to him to apologize because he was having trouble controlling his craving of fulfilling his blessing of berserk. This case was complicated, so Red asked Mito to drop Al at his home, so as they left, Red gets right to the point and asked if Adami was consuming that new medicine. But Mon declined his claim because according to the information they dug up, the medicine has an effect that creates an artificial blessing in the people. So Red immediately goes to find out more about the medicine supplier, and for the time being, Red begins teaching Al in combat. But then he tells him that a mysterious guy just showed up before him and gave him a sword and left. On the other hand, Rit was tracking down the medicine supplier and the guy just exploded. It made a mess on Rit and she wasn't able to draw her sword because of it, and while she was surrounded by other goons, Danon showed up to help her. They met after a really long time and he told her that he came here to get Gideon, but seeing that he was living a really peaceful life he didn't intrude. But Danon heard about the problem with the medicine and offered to help Rit with it, but he also told her to hide the fact that she met him from Red. It was a long day of exhaustion, so she acted spoiled again. The Red told her about that sword Al got, and as Rit inspected with her magic, she discovered that this blade had a tracker on it. And since someone is targeting Al, they took him to a weapon store to select a nice weapon, so as Rit was helping her chose. Red got out and saw that many people had gathered to oppose Mon for abusing his authority and sheltering his criminal son. So Red and Rit devised a plan in which Rit posed as Al and Hoodie to find out who gave him sword. They were all from the Thieves Guild. They even summoned a demon for help, and Al was in the shop. But the guard who was protecting him turned out to be a traitor. Godwin kidnapped him to use him for benefit. Big Haw wanted to use Al as a guinea pig to overthrow Zoltan's council as they were taking part in protecting Adami, but then Red got in to save Adami and Al from them and took them away. Their Albert followed him to stop Red, but he couldn't do a single thing to Red. It was all Big Hawk plan and more, so he was possessed by a goat demon. Big Hawk wanted to be the ruler of Zoltan, so he signed a pact with the demon, but later he got swollen by the demon, and even so Albert was helping him because he wants to prove his power. But Table turns towards him because it was all a trap to bring out the criminals behind this medicine that makes other people go insane. Albert goes insane that he was bested by Red and tries to attack, but in a swing and Red took off his arm. And after that they announced to the people that it was all a stage set up by Big Hawk to become the ruler of the town, and the one who was smuggling the medicine was also him. And unknowingly Adami took that medicine and attacked Al and his family, and the matter was resolved. But then Red and Rit were enjoying their new bathtub together. But when they were enjoying their intimate time, that goat demon broke off from the prison and ran away with Albert. Well, that concludes our second part of the video for today, but make sure you subscribe the channel to get the latest updates on our new video.